Today's DCU Daily, it looks like we won't be getting a Superman trailer on Superman Day, and Snyder fans are raging. Well, look, that's nothing new. They're always raging about something, right? But today they are raging about something I've been trying to explain to all of you for a long time, that James Gunn was recruited to write a Superman script way before he became co-CEO of DC Studios. In fact, everyone, the studio and he, were very honest and transparent about this situation. I'm going to explain that situation to you a little bit later on too. Welcome back to Movies TV Mad. I'm Mick, your host with the most to start your girlfriends and your wives. You can follow me on X, Twitter at Movies TV Mad, and on Instagram and on Threads at Movies TV Mad. X on TikTok, Mad Mickey's World, and on Snapchat, BMouth60. Mick, your host with the most. A very warm welcome to Sunday's edition of the DCU Daily. So, disappointingly, and I mean, I kind of saw this coming, but I was just trying to choose love as I'm trying to do today, right? It looks like we won't be getting a Superman trailer on Superman Day. I did say about a week or so ago, if we didn't have a trailer on Superman Day, Houston, there is a problem, right? And actually, I forgot about this, but I've screenshot something someone sent to me. The actual trailer release schedule of Man of Steel. Let's talk about that. Let me read that out to you first, then we'll get back to this subject, because it's very important to compare the schedule of the trailer releases for Man of Steel and what's going on with the marketing of James Gunn's Superman right here and right now. So yeah, here's the scheduled trailer release for Man of Steel, and it brings some grim reading if you're following the situation with James Gunn's Superman marketing. Teaser trailer released in July 2012, right? This initial teaser was attached to the Dark Knight Rises screenings. I remember that. That's fine, no problem. First full trailer debuted on December the 11th, 2012. So that means the first full trailer of Man of Steel was released way ahead of schedule of the movie's release. Over 6 months. We are now just around 3 months to the release of James Gunn's Superman, and we've had a teaser. A terrible TV spot with terrible flying, and what, a 3.5, 4 minute preview. Don't forget, on top of that preview is clips of the teaser we've already seen. Where's Perry White? Where's Miss Tessmarker? Where's Otis? You know, why hasn't Lois Lane even spoken yet? We've barely seen anything. Now, Gunn was asked on Threads, I think, if I'm correct, if we were going to get the trailer on Superman Day or soon or whatever. And he said, well, it's going to be a bit until we see the trailer because he just gave us that preview. So basically, he tells me this, that the preview, right, is supposed to feed our hunger for all things Superman until they decide to release this trailer. I don't believe we're going to see this trailer now till maybe May. I don't think it's going to be this month. But even worse, it could be June, who knows? I believe now we're not going to have quite a few trailers, because don't forget, I'll remind you, and I've told you this before, and I've reminded you about this before as well. We had 2 alternative teasers for Man of Steel. We had that 2-minute trailer with the Gladiator score music over it. That's one of my favourite trailers for Man of Steel, right? Then we had the 3-minute, that 3-minute trailer, which is really the main trailer. That one where Russell Crowe goes, every person can be a force for good. Then we had the You Are Not Alone viral marketing campaign, which was also over a 2-minute trailer, right? Then, of course, totally separate from that was the TV spots. They did loads. They did loads for Man of Steel. And it's that reason it brought in 670. It was the marketing that brought the box office home. There's no question about it. A brilliant marketing campaign for a superhero movie. A brilliant marketing campaign for a Superman film. So we had a main trailer for Man of Steel over 6 months before release. And we're here 3 months before release of Superman. And look what we've had. Barely nothing. So it's clear to me that James Gunn, Peter Safran, David Zaslav, Warner Brothers Discovery and DC Studios are hiding this film. But context is always important, right? The other platforms will never give you context. They'll just push their own agendas and, try and push some propaganda, right? I'm not here to rage bait. I've been talking about that all over my platforms today. I'm sick and tired of rage baiting. I'm not here to do that. They're hiding this film for a reason. And here are the scenarios. Either he doesn't want this movie spoiled, that there's some things happening in this movie that he really, really doesn't want you to know about. They're probably not even in the test screening. So he's hiding this movie. Or he's hiding this movie because no one at the studio is sure about it. We have heard that the test screenings have garnered a mixed response. The other scenario is they haven't decided on what's going to go in to the final edit of this film in around 3 months till release. And they still, I understand if they haven't completed the final edit of this movie, that's kind of normal. But it's not normal to me not to know within 3 months of release how the final edit is going to look. And this is because they keep on having too many test screenings and they're undecided. They want to give us a film that everyone's happy with, rather than a film from a writer-director shooting from their hip. I'd rather the film from the writer-director shooting from their hip than one that is made by a studio to please everyone so they can make as much coin as possible, right? Zack Snyder, Christopher Nolan and David Goyer made the film that they wanted to make. It was divisive, it wasn't for everyone, as was BVS, blah-de-blah-de-blah. But they made the film they wanted to make. This is how film has worked for many, many years. Whether it was a Charlie Chaplin movie, Laurel and Hardy movie, they did the stuff that they felt would entertain people. They weren't making stuff that people were asking for. They were making stuff that would entertain people. And there is a distinction in that, and that's how entertainment should work. But these days, they test the movie, and they test the movie, and they test the movie, and there's so many people telling them different things, they don't know which way to turn. And I believe one of the reasons we're not going to get another trailer for a while is because they don't know what they're going to put in the movie and take out the movie. So if they start showing you things in the main trailer that are not in the movie, and we've seen this before. We've seen this with Superman movies, right? We saw it in Superman Returns. There was a TV spot with the old guy who was dating Martha Kent talking to Clark. And that wasn't actually in the movie. And as a fan, you think, well, that's not fair. There's been fans trying to sue studios before for putting something in a trailer that's not in the movie. And maybe the studio and James are very much aware of that. So one of these scenarios, I think, is the reason we're not seeing an early trailer. He's still working on this trailer, according to him. So when I was thinking about Superman Day and getting all very excited about the potential of seeing a trailer, I thought, hang on a minute, he reckons he's still working on the trailer. Superman Day is on the 18th. I think that's Friday or Thursday, whenever, right? That's not a lot of time to complete what he's doing. So he said it's going to be a bit till we see another trailer because he let us see the preview. The truth is, this movie is being hidden for one reason or the other. And it isn't a good thing, everyone. It's a worrying thing. I pre-warned you about this. I said, Superman Day is the perfect moment for a trailer, any type of trailer with new footage. It could have been a minute trailer. It could have been a 30 seconds TV spot type of thing with new footage because we know jack shit about this movie. And the truth is, by this stage, in the build-up to Man of Steel, we knew what this movie was at least going to be about. We didn't know how it was going to be executed, but we knew what this movie was going to be about. We heard from Amy Adams' Lois Lane, or at least we saw her. We saw full trailers, over 6 months before release. But this film is being hidden. And a lot of the stuff I've seen for this film, I kind of like. There's a couple of things like the flying TV spot that I'm very unhappy about. I'm worried about the flying in the movie, but maybe there's a narrative context to why he's flying like that. I don't know why, but we do know there's going to be at least another version of Superman in this film. I believe there could be a multitude of different versions of Superman in this film. That's just one of my many fan theories. We'll have to wait and see for that. The costume doesn't look like a perfect fit, but I think there's a narrative reason for that. Superman could be losing weight, he could be dying in this movie. We spoke about that as well the other day. So we don't know why this movie is being hidden. But make no mistake about it, this movie is being hidden from the public, and I'm very disappointed that it looks like, at the very least, we won't be seeing a trailer on Superman Day. But I'm still excited for Superman Day. It's a day I can celebrate the character that I love. Everyone's going to be talking about the character. It's great fun. So it's still a good thing, and they'll be pushing Superman in different ways, the film. But still, it's very disappointing that they're not pushing this film. And I keep on hearing excuses like the marketing schedule is going as planned because they're copying the pattern of Barbie. Well, I don't know how many trailers they had, but I remember this about Barbie. Everywhere you looked was effing pink. They were going to villages around the world and painting them pink. You know, there was a proper world tour. Everywhere was Barbie. Everywhere isn't Superman right now. Now, you would expect that the marketing will take, go into full gear definitely a month before release. So what they want to do is just push it out there a month before release. So it's because people have got, low attention spans these days. So maybe that's what they're trying to do. I don't know, but I do feel we should have seen the main trailer at this point, or at least a 1 minute short or anything. But I could be wrong. And their schedule for marketing, they should know more than I do at the end of the day. I'm not a marketing guru or anything. It's just how I'm assessing the situation. But if James Gunn thinks that preview is enough to quench the thirst to actually see what this movie is, because people have got to decide whether they want to see this film or not. Now, moving on, an excerpt from the interview with Mike DeLuca, the co-CEO of Warner Brothers Pictures, has angered Snyder fans because he was asked about the scheduling of asking James Gunn to write a Superman script, and he said we asked him beforehand before he got that job in secret. Now, this kind of proves that the whole bringing Henry back was probably a lie, and it was. Whether Henry knew it was a lie or not is another conversation that I've had before, and definitely for another time. We're going to have to give Henry the benefit of the doubt there. For me, it's all in the past. It doesn't matter. But this is showbiz, everyone. Showbiz is full of disingenuous people with disingenuous plans and ideas to suck you in to giving them coin, right? So this doesn't surprise me. But I've explained all of this to you before. When he was fired by Disney, I've said this so many times, I'm going to say it one last time, and hopefully I don't have to explain it to you again. Hello, McFly! Right. He was fired by Disney. They asked him to come for a meeting. They wanted him to write a Superman script. He said, I don't want to write a Superman script. I want to make a Suicide Squad movie. They said, if you want to make a Suicide Squad movie, you've got to agree to write a Superman script after your Suicide Squad movie. He said yes, and the rest is history. Then Zaslav came in, took over the company, read the script and said, hey James, this is brilliant. You should be the co-CEO of the DC studios I'm going to structure and open and develop. They shook hands, they agreed, and the rest is history. That's how it worked. But here's the thing, Snyder fans. Most of this is common knowledge. There was no secret here. We know he admitted that he was writing a Superman script beforehand. This wasn't a secret. The Superman script thing was a thing for a very, very long time, even before he became co-CEO of DC Studios. Now, I don't know how out in the open he was at the time. My memory's not that great, but I knew for sure that the reason they wanted him to make a DC movie was to at least write a DC movie. And that was the agreement. If he got a Suicide Squad movie, he would write a Superman movie. And they shook on that, and the rest is history. I don't really see the point in going over this all over again.